back, guys, for another episode of Neon Trash. And tonight it's my pick, and it's going to be a fun ride. It's called Sweet Movie. It's a 1970s post-communist art house film made in Yugoslavia by a man, I'm going to butcher his name, called Dusan Makavice.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But
check.
This movie has been rated very well. Obviously, if it's in the Criterion collection, it's definitely hit some notes. Without further ado, if we even can find the trailer for this bitch, keep that shit.
Bandiera rossa, avanti popolo, alla riscossa, bandiera rossa, trionferà. Avanti popolo, alla riscossa, bandiera rossa, bandiera rossa, avanti popolo, alla riscossa, bandiera rossa, trionferà.
Avanti popolo, alla riscossa, bandiera rossa, bandiera rossa, avanti popolo, alla riscossa, bandiera rossa, trionferà. Bandiera rossa, la trionferà, bandiera rossa, la trionferà, bandiera rossa, la trionferà, e viva il corpo della libertà.
Welcome back, everybody. And holy smokes, this is the definition of an art film. Had a little bit of everything. Like everything.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure even where to start on this one. It's definitely a strong film. It's definitely a crazy film. It takes place in a time and speaks a story that I myself do not truly know. Yeah. But it was zany and it's as nuts as I thought, and I'm glad I could bring this to the channel to show all these other knuckleheads.
Yeah. There's a lot of movies that came out during this freak out era where the director had a vague idea, a vague message of what they would want to say and do in terms of the film.
Yep.
And they were given free reign. On one hand, that's amazing. You cultivated a lot of free and original ideas. On the other hand, though, it's off-putting to people, especially when you cross lines. And that's what these directors did back in the day. They crossed fucking lines. And this movie definitely crossed some fucking lines tonight. There's a few moments where the boys in the band and the girl were like, what the fuck? But there was also times where we were all taken aback by the sheer magnitude of this director's vision. Because this guy...
That's an elegant way to put things.
Well, this guy wanted to say something, and maybe we didn't understand it in its entirety, but there's certain scenes that you can't forget, for better or worse, and for that, I gotta give this guy credit. I mean, this motherfucker pushed the envelope.
Kind of like Tom said, there's a lot of drugs involved, therefore there was a lot of everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like a few times you're like, I don't know what is going on, but it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It was like, what the fuck's going on? But that's okay. I don't know if I want an explanation, just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But it was a very interesting movie, and I feel like each time you might notice something different or realize something like, oh, this could mean this, because there could be a lot of meanings behind things. It's very, I don't know, it's very interesting. I enjoyed it.
I'm trying to think of what I want to say. So, I've seen a lot of provocative movies, and I tend to enjoy them, but sometimes they run into this, like, I would call it an issue where, from a visual standpoint, it's pretty striking, whether it's like the content of what is in the image or how it's presented. But the message isn't always clear. And I think that this was clearly probably a bunch of young people that had something to say, and I don't know of how like what they were trying to say actually gets across. And perhaps with like research or a second viewing, if anyone could stomach it, you could glean a little bit more from it. But I'm not entirely convinced that that would be possible. I think that there's a lot of like overt symbolism that they're trying to hit you over the head with. And I think like the exploitation and sexuality throughout the film is supposed to hit you on the head. And to me, it kind of feels like they're just throwing everything that's taboo at the wall and seeing what might stick with someone.
Dang, man, when it comes down to it, like, this movie felt like it was just trying to be provocative for being provocative's sake, almost. Like, it was just trying to, like, maybe almost, like, anger as many different groups of people as it could. You know, maybe that's what the point was. Maybe that's what they were going for. But, like, there was so much going on and so many, you know, messages and narratives and illusions. And it was just, like... I mean, it's such a whirlwind. You're like, well, what the hell? Like, I can't even try to, like... And yes, and a lot of it's so off-putting. It's like, why would I try to rewatch this to, like, find all those little nuances and meanings to things? Like, no. Like, no. No. Like, once is good for this, you know? Like, this is in that go category for me. Like, I saw it once.
These guys put it pretty well, you know, what to say. Except for they didn't touch on the fact that, like, randomly in the movie they took a page out of history and showed some documentation about something in history. And, you know, it kind of showed, like, you know, so our history is pretty shitty. Definitely art, definitely, like, different, definitely pushing boundaries. Mm-hmm. And I also think about, like, what the whole, like, idea, like, the whole message or things he wants to try to show, like, get you to think about. Maybe I don't get it is because I'm from here. And maybe they're trying to say, hey, you know, somebody from Czech Republic or Yugoslavia or Poland,
like, right, we're so far
or
removed.
Canada, you know, it's like, you know, all the
time and place.
Time and place.
All in all, we've decided that our basic question for this film is, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
And as a film, I mean, 74, it's renegade art house filming. The sound quality was pretty good.
I mean, yeah.
Hard to say that really, well, there's whatever. That's another discussion. Anyways, alright. I give this thing like a 4.5. 5 for edginess.
I mean, I agree with pretty much everyone here. Like, I don't think there's a wrong opinion in this room whatsoever. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be gained from this movie, and there's also at the same time nothing to be gained from it.
I agree with that.
And I've watched a lot of bizarro movies where I've said to myself, I don't want to own that. I don't want to return to that.
Yeah.
I'd have to say like Salo is like one of those movies where I'm like, oh, I've seen it twice. Don't want to own it. You know what I'm saying?
I have no criteria.
This one though, kind of, I gotta say for me, it walked a line. And there was other things about it where I'm like, holy shit balls, it crosses a line. Mm-hmm. And when I've watched the movie Salo, I definitively knew I didn't want anything to do with that movie anymore. With this movie though, I don't know. Maybe I do want to return to it. And if I was to give it a star count, I'm probably going to be the weirdo. I'm going 7 out of 10. Olivia? How I feel?
Both of those kind of made me wonder how I'm feeling, really, as far as a star count, because I'm not really sure.
Yeah?
It's definitely an interesting movie. I feel like everyone else, I don't know if I'd want to revisit it, but I can say that I watched it and it was something weird, so I would say a 5.5, 6.
For me, like I said, there's so much that's going on here, and like this is clearly an attempt to some extent to be a political film, but so many different symbols and what they're showing like clash with one another. Like we have Confederate symbols, we have fascist symbols, we have communist symbols, we have all this shit happening, and it's just like, where do you want us to land? Like, does everybody suck? Because if that's what you're trying to argue, that's not really revelatory. That's kind of just like, okay, well, thanks. Like, we get it.
We know that.
Yeah. And so, like, I thought that the opening, like 25 minutes, were really strong. There's like a weird dark humor to it. I'm like, oh, this could go somewhere cool. But yeah, it kind of, I feel like just like goes into excess, which is something I can get behind, but if it like is cohesive or feels like it means something. So I'm gonna go with just straight down the middle, a 5 out of 10.
Nice. Rocket.
Dang, this one is. I agree with it. It's like really tough to rate. Like, where exactly am I with this? Like, I can't say there's really necessarily anything I liked. There's definitely a few aspects I could at least appreciate it, and like so much else. I'm just like, god damn. Like,
Yeah.
I'm closer to Dale. I could only give this a 4.
I've seen some shitty movies, and I've seen some good ones. This one, just like them, I don't know where to stand on this, but I also am going to give it a 4.
Well, there you guys have it. That is the movie, Sweet Movie. Definitely polarizing, to say the fucking very least. It's one of those films where you watch it and you go, what the fuck did I just watch? That's the bottom line. And no
I mean,
matter,
if you're looking for a movie that makes you say that, like, this is a strong candidate for that.
And,
Like,
I will say this, the final thoughts on that is the varying star counts, the varying points of view, and the confliction that we all had with this movie, I think is really what is gained from this movie. It's like, yeah, you're right, it's excessive. This director was given a lot of leeway, and whether or not you think it's warranted or he deserves it is up to the viewer. So I hope I've been informative. Till the next time, guys, tune in to Neon Motherfucking Trash. Bye!